All right, good morning, everybody. Today, the 6th day of Teves, a wonderful Friday. Let's start right here with the Chumash. Ves Yehuda shalach lefanav. He sent Yehuda ahead of him, El Yosef to Yosef, lahayres lefanav, Gershna, Geishna, vayavayu Eretz Goshen. To direct him to Goshen, and they came to the land of Goshen. Why did he send him ahead? He is a very famous Rashi. The Agadic interpretation of Yosef. Oh, looks like my screen just went. Oh, there we go. So before Yaakov would go down, I'm having some computer issues here. I'm stuck. Okay, so before, oh, there we go. Anybody know how to get this box out? Okay, can everyone hear me? Let me share my screen again and try this a second time. Okay, now it looks like we're working. Okay, so before before Yaakov would come down to Mitzrayim, first he sent Yehuda ahead in order to establish a yeshiva. Vayeser Yosef merkavtoi vayal likras Yisrael, and Yosef harnessed his chariot and he went up to meet his father, likras Yisrael Aviv, Goishna to Goshen, vayira ela vayipal, and he appeared to him and he fell on him, vayipal al tzavarav, and he fell on his neck, vayevk, and he wept al tzavarav oid, on his neck for a long time. Can you imagine this reunion? Vayoser Yosef merchavta, Yosef harnessed his chariots. He personally harnessed the horses to the chariot to hasten to honor his father. Vayera alav, Yosef nira alaviv, Yosef presented himself to his father, and he wept on his neck for a long time. This is an expression of profuse weeping, and we see this expression elsewhere. Does not place upon additional over above his. Here too, he wept greatly and continuously, more than usual. Jacob, however, neither fell on Joseph's neck nor kissed him. Our sages said that he was reciting the Shema during this time. Vayem Yisrael Yosef, and Yisrael, Yaakov said to Yosef, Amusa hapam achri ra'isias panecha ki oitcha chai. I will die this time, since I've seen your face and you are still alive. Let's look at how the Targum translates this. If I should die this time, I would be consoled. The Midrashic interpretation is, however, I thought I would die 2 deaths in this world and in the next world because the Shekhinah had left me. And I thought that the Holy One, blessed be, would hold me responsible for your death. Now that you are still alive, I will die, but only once. So Yaakov thought he was going to have double death with the Shekhinah and a physical death, spiritually and physically. And Yosef said to his brother, Yosef said to his brothers and to his father's household, I will go up and tell Parai, and I will say to him, my brothers and my father's household who were in the land of Canaan have come to me. Explaining that they are shepherds. This is how the continuation. The men are shepherds. For they were always owners of livestock, and their flocks and their cattle and all that they have brought. And if it comes to pass that Pari asks, so what's your occupation? You shall say, your servants have been owners of livestock from our youth, va'adata, until now. Both we and both our ancestors. So that we may dwell in the land of Goshen, because all shepherds are abhorrent to the Egyptians. Why? We're going to see in Rashi. So that they may dwell in the land of Goshen, which you need, for it is a land of pasture. And when you tell him that you are not skilled at any other work, he will send you away from him and settle you there. He was worried Pari would conscript the brothers into the Egyptian army. They were so powerful, so strong. Remember with the story of Yehuda, when he comes to Yosef and the Midrashim on that, how the strength that they displayed, that they would be able to take on the entire Egyptian army. So it was important for them to say that they're just but pastors, which was the truth. That they are going to tend to shepherds, that they're going to tend to their flock. They're shepherds that are going to tend to their flock and cattle in pasture. So why are the shepherds abhorrent to Egyptians? Because the sheep were gods to the Egyptians. Yosef came to Pari, Vayemer, Avi v'achai v'tzainam ufkaram v'chol asher lahem bo me'eretz Canaan v'hinam be'eretz Goshen. Behold, my father and my brothers and their tzeincham, their flock and their cattle, and all that is theirs has come down from Canaan, and they are in the land of Goshen. Miktzei aviv lokach chamisha anoshim vayitzagim lifnei Pari. And from among his brothers, he took 5 men and he presented them before Pari. So let's look at this Rashi. From the most inferior of them in regards to physical strength, those who did not appear strong, for if he, Pari, would recognize them as being strong, he would make them his warriors. So these were the 5. They are the following: Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yisachar, and Binyamin. Those whose names Moshe did not double when he blessed them, but the names of the strong ones he doubled. Okay, this is a quotation from Medrash Rabbah, which is the Agada of Eretz Yisrael. In our Babylonian Talmud, however, we find that those whose names Moshe doubled were the weak ones, and it was they whom he brought before Pari. So it's the opposite. As for Yehuda, the 6th one, whose name was doubled, however, it was not doubled because of weakness, there's another reason for it, as it stated in Baba Kama, in the Brisa of Sifri, and the Zoyt HaBracha. We learn as in our Talmud, the Sifri identifies the 5 brothers, as does the Talmud, namely that the 5 brothers were Gad, Naphtali, Dan, Zvulun, and Asher. So there's disagreement exactly which 5 brothers Yosef brought before Pari. And exactly like Yosef had said, Pari had predicted, just had exactly like Yosef had predicted, Pari said to his brothers, "What is your occupation?" Your servants are shepherds. Both we and our forefathers. He covered harav be'eretz Canaan va'ata yeshvu na avadecha be'eretz Goshen. And they said to Pari, "We have come to your land, sojourn in the land. For your servants' flocks have no pasture. From the famine is severe in the land of Canaan. Now, please let your servants dwell in the land of Goshen." Your father and your brother have come to you. Eretz Mitzrayim lefanechahi. The land of Egypt is open before you. B'meitav haaretz, the best of the land. Heishiv es avicha ve'es achacha yeshvu be'eretz Goshen ve'im yadaita ve'yesh bam anshe chayil v'shmart v'samtem sarai mikne al asher li. Let them dwell in the land of Goshen, and if you know that there are capable men among them, make them livestock officers over what is mine. So he didn't harness them for war, but he said, okay, let them at least manage the royal flock. Vayava Yosef el Yaakov Avinu Aviv vayamideu lefnei Parai vayivarach Yaakov es Parai. So Yosef brought his father Yaakov and stood him before Parai, and Yaakov greeted Parai. Vayivarach Yaakov, and Yaakov greeted. It's interesting. This is a greeting that is customary for all who occasionally present themselves before monarchs. Vayomer Parai el Yaakov, kama yimei shnei chayecha. Parai said to Yaakov, how many are the days of your days of the years of your life? How old are you? Vayomer Yaakov el Parai yimei shnei shonei migurai shloishim ma'as shana ma'at v'roim hayu yimei shnei chaye v'loy hisigu es yimei shnei chaye avoisai b'mei migureihem. And Yaakov said to Pari, the days of the years of my sojourning are 130 years. The days of the years of my life have been few and miserable, and they have not reached the days and the years of the lives of my forefathers and the days of their sojourning. What does that mean? Yimei migurai, or shnei migurai. The days of my being a stranger, all my days have been a stranger in the land. Wow. Vayivarach Yaakov as Parai v'yetzim l'fnei Parai. Yaakov blessed Parai and left Parai's presence. According to the custom of all those who leave the presence of princes, they bless them and take their leave. Now, what blessing did he bless him? That the Nile should rise at his approach, because Egypt does not drink rainwater, but the Nile rises and waters it. That's why the Nile was such a critical source, and the Nile also was considered like a god to them, and it would rise to greet him and water the land. So this is how Pari was also able to say that he was a god, because if the Nile, who is the god of the Egyptians, would rise to Pari, that means Pari himself must be an even greater god. That completes, by the way, the Chumash for today. And please don't forget the Chumash for tomorrow on Shabbos. Let's go to the Tanya. So we explained in yesterday's Tanya that there are different types of things. Some things that are kosher, they can be uplifted even afterwards. Some things that are non-kosher, the only way to uplift them is with avaraba, a great level of tshuva, when you come to a high level. However, in today's Chita and today's Tanya, we're going to point out that there's one exception to this rule, and that is zera levatala, semen that is you're not allowed to have wasteful semen, but semen that is wasteful is not in the same category as other isurim, other forbidden relationships, as an example. That the wasteful semen does not need this high level of tshuva. A regular, sincere tshuva can fix that. Let's read it inside and why it's different and all of that. However, the vitality in the drops of semen that one issued wastefully, even though it is completely incorporated and degraded into the three unclean klipos. This can be uplifted with just a regular tshuva, or nechaina, he translates it as true repentance, but not the repentance, just a proper repentance, but not the highest level of repentance. Uvechavana atzuma, intense concentration, but kriya shema shalamita, with when you're doing kriya shema shalamita. Kenoidim Arizal zechrein levracha, or Ma'ari zechrein levracha, as is known from the teachings of our master, the Arizal. Umrumas beGemara, it's actually implied by the Gemara. Kol akir kriya shema shalamita ki ulu oiches cherev shall stay pies. He who recites the Shema at bedtime as if he's held a double-edged sword. What does that mean? Lahareg gufois hachitzainim shenasa levush lachayis shevatipos va'oila achayis mehem kiyadua li'edei echein. Meaning one edge wherewithin to slay the bodies of the klipos that have become garments of the vitality in the drops of the semen, and another edge by which the vitality ascends from them, from the klipos, as is known to the students of Kabbalah. So in Kabbalah, either way, the point is that unlike other dvarim hasurim, other forbidden things, this specific forbidden thing can be uplifted from the klipa, shalish klipas hatmeis, and be uplifted through a proper intense concentration at kriya shema shalamita. V'lachein lo yuhuzkar avin zer levatal v'atera bechlal b'isar asurais. Therefore, the sin of wasteful emission of semen is not mentioned in the Torah among the listed of forbidden biais, forbidden relations. Even though in one aspect, in some respects, it's more strenuous or more worse than other forbidden things. V'gadol avoinai b'vchinas hagadlus v'ribay atuma v'aklipa shemoiled umarba ma'id ma'id. The enormity and abundance of the impurity and of the klippa that you get is exceedingly more great by wasteful emission, even more so than through forbidden relations. When measured by the quantity of klippa that sin creates, this sin is graver than the forbidden relations. Raksha bebias asurais moisef koyach b'chayis b'klipa tmei b'yoser ache eni yochala alois misham hachayis b'tshuva elim ken yasa tshuva ma'avaraba kolkach ache zdainis nasalech kischuyis. It is only that when we look qualitatively, this sin is different, because in the case of forbidden relations, you need to have, like we said before, a tshuva me'avaraba. You need to have tshuva that it comes from great love. So let's read this box. Since the sin of wasteful emission and of semen can be rectified even without repentance out of love, the avaraba, tshuva me'avaraba, the Torah does not include the sin with the related sins of forbidden relations. Concerning this sin, all that is necessary to elevate the degraded vitality to holiness is proper repentance with true intent and devotion during the recitation of the bedtime Shema. So this is an easier thing to remedy. Okay, so why taka? Why does forbidden relations need a greater, need a bigger, like you cannot do it just with a tshuva, a regular tshuva. You need to have a tshuva rabba. Ipnei sheniklata B'yisoid de nukva. This is, we're getting into a little bit of a Kabbalistic, this is a note, a side note, sidebar in the Tanya. When you look at it in the actual Tanya, it's like a separate box. Because if you want to know where different yesod, where the source of forbidden relations comes from the female element of klipa. Hamakabeles v'koiletes hachayis me'akdusha. Masha enkein bezera levatala she'en sham b'chinas nukva de klipa. Not so with wasteful emission, where there is no female element of klipa. Rak shebekoicheisea v'achayisea malbishim lechayis shebatipos ki'yadua liyodechein. Only it's the klipa's power and force grab. The vitality of the semen as is known to the students of Kabbalah. It's missing this element of this feminine element, and therefore it doesn't have the same level of tshuva and the same level of klipa. From this we can understand something that the rabbis said. Which is a fault that cannot be rectified? Somebody who had an improper relation and gave birth to a mamzer. Why? Because it's something that you cannot fix. Oh my gosh. Since it has already descended into the world and has been clothed in a body of flesh and blood. Even Avarabba cannot fix. Now we can understand what it means that the Rabbanim, our rabbi said that there is one thing that you cannot fix, and that's if a mamzer is born. Once all other types of sins, you did a forbidden relation, whatever, those things, ava gedola, tshuva gedola me'ava, which we have to get into that, what that is. But at least it seems fixable. Let's look at this note and we'll end off over here. Even repentance of great love cannot rectify this. Still, it is explained elsewhere that if the repentance is powerful enough, it can actually affect the death. Oh my gosh, the death of the bastard. Once it ceases to be in a body of flesh and blood, its vitality can ascend to holiness. That's an interesting thing to leave off on. But either way, since most of us are not dealing with that, but we are dealing with many other types of both permissible types of taivos, of desires, and non-permissible desires that the only way we can uplift those non-permissible desires is through avarabba, tshuva me avarabba, repentance from great love, and some maybe a tshuva nechaina. There's a lot to think about here, and I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful Shabbos. I hope to see you over Shabbos, and have a wonderful day. Bye.